Welcome to Against All Odds, another episode where we actually get to discuss about people's lives, but mainly not about what they've only been through, but coming through as survivors from being victims. And it's all about taking a look at the misfortunes, tragedies that these people have faced, and obviously coming through as survivors. Joining me today on the show, a very popular and talented musician himself. A lot of you do love his music, and we do have T Gonz joining us today on the show on Against All Odds. Thank you so much for joining us, T Gonz. I'm excited to have you here.
It's a pleasure. How are you doing, Raj?
Great. You're looking lovely. You're looking good.
Thank you. Good to see you today.
Nice seeing you too. So, okay, you are a musician, popular indeed, and one of the best rappers to come out of this particular generation in Zimbabwe. Now, we understand that you've gone through a lot. Whenever we, see the tabloids, the newspapers, media talking about you, there's a lot that has come through. Before we go through that, I just want to take you way back in history. Right. You're growing up. How did you grow up? How was your childhood like?
Okay. Tinashe Gonzara, that's me. That's my birth name. I was born on the 13th of April. That's in 1993. In the dusty streets of Mufakose. I attended my primary education at Rizio Primary School, grade 1 to 7. Then Form 1 to Form 2, I went to Murimwe Secondary School. Then from the third term, Form 2, I then went to Mount Pleasant High School. Yeah, that's it. That's where I went to school. T Gonz, that's my stage name as a hip hop musician. Yeah, that's it,
Were your parents always, supportive of you becoming a musician?
Well, to be very honest, my parents were very supportive. I thank God for that. Why? Because they've always supported me in everything that I've ever done in my life, from the school times, like the times I was still going to school, and everything that I was doing. They just believed in me, and I really love that, they just feel like T Gonz and anongopedza my sports page in that's what they've always been like. Unfortunately, I lost my mom in 2021.
I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, my dad is still alive. So yeah, they've been supportive. They're still supportive. So they're just like that. Okay,
let's talk about when you blew up as a hip hop artist. Which year was that exactly?
When I blew up, with a hit single, that was in 2015.
2015.
Yeah, that was in 2015. I released Zvenyu. Zvenyu was the biggest track on Power FM and Star FM at the end of the year. It was on #1, if I'm not mistaken. And that's when I blew up. That was in 2015. Zvenyu is a track I did in 2013. Then I don't know how it happened that it started to play in 2015. Yeah, on radio, and people started to love it.
As is with music, that you may produce it in 1 year and then
but
blows
prior
up
to
later.
prior to that, I was a freestyle artist. I was a battle rapper. When we talk hip hop, we have different devices of hip hop. You understand? There's graffiti, we have rapping, we have MCing, we have DJing. As the rap culture, So I started off as a battle rapper, whereby rappers face each other, they're battling on stage. So in 2014, that's when I got my first award for Best Freestyle Artist Award. That's at the Zim Hip Hop Awards. And in 2015, that's when Zvenyu blew up, the single,
All right. Now, I want to take you when, you then became popular as an artist. And then the next thing we are reading in the headlines, in the newspapers and tabloids, that you've actually been attacked and that you're not okay. I remember when I read the article, it was talking about how someone was trying to look for you and they were not able to find you at that particular time. And only later did people then find out that something tragic happened to you at that particular time. I'm going to go into detail exactly as to what happened at that time. If you can just tell us, before that happened, where were you?
You mean like days prior to that?
On that particular day?
Yeah, on that day.
Your normal day that day. You woke up, what did you do?
All right. I'll start from the dreams.
Okay.
Yeah. I was still asleep. Then I was dreaming like ndakatsika nyoka, you know. I was standing on like snakes, the smaller ones and the biggest ones. So I was trying to run away at the same time, like I was running on top of them. You understand? So, like I got to a point whereby I saw a very big snake. You understand? So when I saw a very big snake, did you know vunduka? That's when I woke up. And you know, I've always been a mama's boy. I don't want to lie about that. You know, when my mom was alive, I woke up and I started to cry. You know, I didn't even know good feeling and you know. I just woke up and started to cry. And that same moment, my mom was trying to ask, what's wrong? Chichi, not to and darota, you know, nanchitsika nyoka, you know. And pasinama minutes, you know, I was just stressing. Ndopaka phone were dead, like my dad. Then, like I wasn't just feeling well, you know. So, and I'm daroga about come home. So I had to go to Mufakose. By that time, I was staying in Waterfalls. So I went to Mufakose. I went to see my family. You know, I was always stressing on the my problems I take between my parents. That's my dad and my mom, you know. So I went there, and Pandai enda ku Mufakose. When I was on my way there, that's when I received a call from Oskid. You know Oskid, the producer.
Yes.
He was like, "Can you come to the studio today? We need to work."
Okay. You
understand? So I was like, "Okay, cool, I'm coming." So when I went to Mufakose, I had to rush from Mufakose, like trying to rush to go to the studio. That's in Newlands.
Okay.
Yeah, that's in Newlands. That's where the ZFM premises are. And Oskid was still working at the back of the building. So I then went there. That was around 7 p.m. I wasn't driving, so my friend had to take me there, T Frank. That was around 7 p.m. I went to the studio. So when I went to the studio, the guys were drinking. We started to drink. We were just guys. There was Killer T there. I was there, you know. A lot of guys were just there. We were vibing, we were drinking, you know. And we got to a point, like we were recording music. And then I felt like it's late now. I need to go back home.
Okay, so I'm going to hold you on that one. All right. So there you have it. We've got T Gonz today on Against All Odds, and he's just explaining to us how he actually grew up. And of course, he just explained to us what actually happened that day. So we're going to take a short break and we'll be back. But when we come back, we want to talk in detail how all the tragedy transpired. Remember, if you want to share your story with us, you can actually get to do so. Just make sure to get in touch with us with the numbers that are appearing on your screen. This is Against All Odds. Welcome back to Against All Odds, and we are talking to T Gonz as he explains to us, you know, his tragedy that actually happened that the whole nation got to hear about. Now, just before the break, you did mention that, you know, you felt it was late.
Yeah.
You know, you had this dream.
Yeah.
Nyoka, ziripo, the snakes, big, small ones, and you're trying to run away.
Yeah.
You go, you do the recording, you're feeling like it's a bit late, it's time for you to go.
Yeah.
At what particular time was this?
Well, you know, this was very late.
How late is late? Is
like this
10?
was very late. Like this was around 1 a.m. or so.
Okay. All right.
Like this was around 1 a.m. And I was like, Oskid, I think I need to go back home, and then probably I'll come back later because it was already the next day.
Yeah.
I'll come back later, probably in the morning or afternoon. I need to rest. You know, it's late. You know, so I felt like Oskid, like, you know, Oskid obviously was the person who was supposed to be responsible for my transportation, since he was responsible for it, you know. So he just told the other of the guys, one of the friends, that's Shepitaz, that's his name. So he had to take us to town, and then we get a taxi from town to home. That's what I was. By that time, I was managed by this guy, Aduk. His name is Aduk. He's the guy who was managing me. So by the time we got into town, the moment we were dropped in town is the moment there was the other car like close by. And what we had to do was to change, instead of going to Waterfalls, so that we could go to White House. That's Kwadzana White House. That's where Aduk was staying, my then manager by that time, understand? So the time we were walking to Total, that's in Samora Machel, so that we could find transport, right? And then we started to walk there. Then this car was just following through, you understand? So when this car got to the bus stop, it was playing my song, My Ex Angu. You understand? So they were like, guys, where are you going? And Aduk was talking to these guys like, okay, tukwenda ku White House, and I was standing Drikure. I was kind of suspicious, At that time we were high. To be fair, we were high because we were drinking like prior to that, right? So that very moment I was standing like behind the car and the guys are playing my music and Aduk is like, come through, let's go. And the car didn't have number plates. That's at the back. You understand? So just because the guys were playing my music, I felt like these guys are close by because one of them, like, akatubulitsa msoro pawe, is like, yo ndakuziva kayo. So I felt like these are friends. So I just had to walk in and then I got into the car. The moment the car started to drive, like we're in Samora Machel, headed to that squad's and a White House, right? Then Tichingo put up a showgrounds. They started to attack now Aduk because I was chilled. Because they're like, give us everything that you have and everything. Then Aduk was like, then they started to beat him up and everything, They started to speed up even more. And surprisingly, that very moment, the other car was following at the back. Motkari Mapurisa, a police car. And these guys were trying to manage Motkari, and I was like, and these guys were speeding.
Do you think it was a chase?
Yeah, I got to the point it was a chase because somewhere. That's how I heard it. I'm not sure about it, but that's how I heard it. So this car, I was just chilled. I just chilled. I wasn't saying anything, and I was just feeling like Aduk is being too vocal with these guys, and I was chilling. And in that very moment, Wakafura door, then they threw him out the car. Like the car was in high speed. When I was looking like my dashboard, like on 160 or something,
wow.
It was in high speed. Then so from that moment, and then I later had to understand Aduk. That's when they went to Aduk. They thought he is one of the robbers. Police station.
Okay.
That's how I heard it.
Right.
So the moment they were rushing the car, we got to a certain point. I still remember they turned right. Ashton Park, like 10 off in Melbourne. That's what I still remember. And I was chilled. And then that's when the driver was like, now, should I move? And I was like, what the
Wait, what? They had a gun?
Yeah, like Pakan on the shoot the moon.
They had a gun.
Like by that time I had not seen the gun. You understand? Wow. Then I'm stressing. They threw out this guy. They don't know where I'm going. So I'm trying to reason, guys, can we change direction so we can go to waterfalls, And these guys, they just chilled. There were 4 of them. And this driver was like, shoot the moon. So now the guy who was sitting next to me, he held a gun. Wow. I had to so to think about my mom, think about my wife, then wife by that time, think about my son, think about everything, my friends, and I got to a point he was just like that and he wasn't shooting. So, I was just like, Uri Mondi akaita say shoot daga wangu. And the funny thing, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen all my life. That person aita say about my feet, kudai. And then when I pass side park, banga, and then he pressed it in my head. Wow. You understand? So it was so painful to the point with the high speed remote car, I was confused. I had to try so that they don't keep on doing it, Then like I still remember and from that moment and the knife was still in my head. You understand? And the car was in high speed. I still remember and now kwanza kuziwa road yoyo ndeipi, but it was close to Ashton Park, Melbourne, and then ndakaita senda one of my lights. I saw like car lights from very afar and I was like, right now the truth is I'm gonna die. What should I do? Like a popular person. So I still remember ndakazonofamba ndomba ndanorara mumauswa, like trying kubvisa banga rari and everything. That's how it happened. Kuba ipapo, I don't remember kuti chii chakazoitika up to the time I was in hospital. You understand? And ndinakukwanisa kuremember kuba ipapo kuti like
this is going to make me tear up.
then the funniest thing, like ndakazonowanikwa ku Highfields, like I'm told kuti ndakazonowanikwa ku Highfields, like I knocked the other gate, then this family didn't open the gate, they felt kuti pamwe ndiri mbavha, and then ava ndanoka pechi 2 vakanzwa vakafunga ndiri mbavha, then I just fell on the gate. You understand? Then makuseni vana vakutoenda kuchikoro ndo pane mufana akati ndi T Gonz ka uyu, you know, and then that's when people had to start to react kuti chi toita say, and I'm told kuti the only thing that I could remember was my mom's phone number. I couldn't do anything. They tried to talk to me, and the only thing that I could do was to give them numbers and moms. So now when my mom came and my sisters and my then wife, vachinditaura, they didn't know anything because it was a deep cut and it was very small. So they thought kutoti ndakatodhakwa, you know.
Wow.
From then, and it was kuti what happened.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fine. A heartbreaking story coming through there from T Gonz as he actually narrates what actually happened to him when he was actually robbed and stabbed with a knife. Imagine having a gun pointed to your head. What would you have done? This is Against All Odds, and we'll be back right after this break. Be back and find out a little bit more of how he became a victim to a survivor. Welcome to Against All Odds, and we are talking to T Gonz as he actually narrates his story. Now, a very sad one indeed. You can only imagine if you were in his shoes. Now, T Gonz, you mentioned that, you know, the next thing, you know, people found you and then you had taken out the knife from your head.
Yeah.
This is the time when they decided to take you to the hospital.
Yeah.
You had to go through, is it a series of operations?
Yeah, actually, like it was an operation, maybe 2 operations. The cranioplasty one, whereby the only option for me to live was for them to remove the skull.
Okay.
Bonzo remsoro. The best way they could keep bonzo remsoro was kurisa mudumbu mangu. You see? So vakazviitira izvozvo so that they clean it up, paraklotera mukati memsoro, so that ndinorarama. So it was the only option. So they did it, ndobva ndaiswa bonzo mudumbu. I think I stayed like that for 3.5 months. Then I went back for operation. Then they put it back. This is the reason why I put this hairstyle. You see? This is my head. You see? This is the skull that was removed. And here, you see this? This is where they took this is where they put the skull for 3 months. And then the Chibam operation, like today, I was just so traumatized about my life that I had to record as much as I can. I started to record the next day after operation. I could record, then my head is really hurting. Then I record like I was even doing shows, because I felt like this is the last time for me, you know, like I'm gonna die. So I recorded over 200 songs. You understand? I worked with Gary Tite, you know, like that moment, that's when I did the most.
Okay.
I went to a lot of shows because Kure and Gaitana Aishan was on the heat, you know. So I recorded a lot of songs. So Pandagazonet was the other operation. I started to learn it now, and here I stand.
It's such a sad story.
Yeah.
It's tearing me up. I'm trying to hold my tears back because I can only imagine what you've been through.
Yeah.
And then, you know, coming back from this, you became a hit once again, and everybody was very happy that you survived. I'm happy that you're here because life is precious, and you get to realize that we don't always have time.
Yeah, true.
But there were also rumors that you also went into drugs. Was it because of the trauma that you faced, that you were going through?
To be really honest with you, like that's the time that I started to really do much drugs, you understand?
Yeah.
Because I felt like, you know, like I'm the most playing artist in the country right now at that moment. So I went through a very, very serious depression, you know. Kuti saka vanhu vachandiona sei, you know, vanhu vachiona bonzo rakadai so vachandiona sei, okay, musoro wangu uchirwadza kudai so, like there are times whereby my head could hurt zvekuti I've never like came across such pain, you know. Zvekuti ndega neitoziva kuti this pain, like even up to now I still get few pains, but I think I'm really recovering now. It was so hard. It was so hard, yeah.
What type of drugs did you do, if you don't mind me asking?
Codeine syrup. That's the only, like, that's the biggest drug that I know. I never went to cocaine. I never tried crystal meth and all these other things, Torito. I really rebooked those things. I got to a point I had to quit drugs now. I had to go for rehab, you know. Special thanks to Jigaba, you know, my distributors. I went to SA for rehab, and here I am. Yeah, here I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm looking at your story and I'm thinking,
yeah,
you've been through a lot.
that was so hard.
Do you think you had any enemies that wanted to attack you at that particular time?
You know, to be very honest with you, you know, I'm a very outspoken rapper, you know. I'm a very outspoken rapper. Like, I'm a person who believes in his word. I'm a person who is vigilant about everything that he does, you understand? I come from, like, strong hip-hop roots, you know, like I'm telling you about the battle rap and everything. Chances could be, you know, one thing I know is this was a setup.
You really think it was a setup?
I really think
someone was trying to kill you?
Not.
Do you even know for what reason?
It's not like I really think this was a setup. I know that this was a setup.
Because
these
for
guys,
what reason would they want to come after you?
I wouldn't know.
Was it about the money? Is it about the name?
I wouldn't
Is it about
know.
a small beef
I
that happened?
I still remember it was 3 weeks after we released Kure. You know, Kure was already hitting in the streets.
Yeah.
You understand? And I'm a person who has had beef with several rappers, you know, musically, you know, here and there, you know. So obviously you wouldn't know who this is.
So you don't
I'm
know
a person,
who it was?
like, you know, when I rap, when you listen to my music, you know, I talk everything that I say with robustness. You understand what I'm saying? So someone can go against that. It's hip hop, you understand? So chances could be that. One thing I know, this was a setup.
Okay.
Yeah, but should I keep on thinking about that, or I should take it from here and try to move forward and make everything go right? Yeah.
I like the fact that you said, do you want to keep dwelling on what happened in the past, or it's time for you to move forward and, you know, live on, live your life at this particular time?
Yeah,
because
true.
I can understand where you're coming from. Obviously.
Yeah, you know, there was a time whereby, like, the whole country was really vibing to my music, really vibing to what's happening around me, the successes and everything, yet I was in so much depression. So the thing is, people couldn't see that, you understand? Because I'm a person who believes in himself, you understand? So now, as time was moving, the depression was just going more harder and harder and harder. And it got to a point whereby I felt like I need help, you understand? So this is when I went to rehab, you know? All the experiences that I, like, Angandakaita previously, you know, I started to correct every mistake that I was making, to believe in myself, you understand, to take it as it is, and thank God for this life. Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm inspired by your story.
Yeah.
Coming out as a survivor, you were clearly a victim.
Yeah.
You felt some type of way when you woke up that day.
Yeah.
You weren't too sure what your dream meant, but if you then found out that this is what actually happened.
And like, for instance, Miss Raj, try to think of it this way, and try to think of the depression of you knowing that this was a setup, right? And this was someone, and knowing that munhu uyu ikoi handisikuzoziva kuti ndiani, and then no one in the whole country is going to follow up on this issue, understand? There were times I felt like, okay, maybe the police need to do something about it. So probably this is the highlight of the interview, understand? I felt like, as a national artist, you know, who was big at that time. People really need to take their time on this. The journalists, the detectives, you know, the, like, you know, the important people, you know, the authorities, you understand, the government and other things like that. I felt like, okay, so when I know you know, so ndakatopinda depression, it is serious, you know. And I thank God that I'm here and I'm safe and I'm happy.
Well, we are also happy that you're here, you survived, and you are a survivor. I want to give you a round of applause and say that you are bigger than you were before. Look at you now.
True,
great. Well, there you have it. Want to say thank you so much to T Gonz for coming through here. That is on Against All Odds, narrating his very painful story. Imagine facing death and then realizing that no, it is not yet your time. Thank you so much for coming through. We definitely appreciate it. And we'll be back right here on Against All Odds with another story. But remember, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And you too, if you're a victim, you can definitely get to survive. Until next time, my name is Rachel Munyeheli.